We need some new eyes on this. We need some new ideas. We need sort of a reset here.
They're going to be good because they draft better defenders in April.
Buccaneers offensive coordinator Liam Coen is among the handful of guys that seem to be the front runner for the Jacksonville Jaguars job. Pulled his name out of that hat. He is going to remain the coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense instead of any right of first refusal of that Jaguars job, which a lot of people thought that he would have. So this possibly bumps up Salah to the Jaguars' top choice. They have also brought back for an interview the Raiders defensive coordinator. So Robert Salah back to the 49ers doesn't look nearly as smooth and about to happen this morning as it did just yesterday afternoon. Things change quickly in the league, Larry, all the time.
If this opportunity gets ruined because at least half of the opportunity or the first year or two gets ruined because you've got to come in and quickly, figure out a way to power play Balky out of there with the owner, maybe that's not what Robert Salah wants. Maybe he'll steer clear as well.
Yeah,
who knows? It's very rare. It's very rare. These coaches all want to be head coaches. It's very rare for any coordinator to take himself out of a head coach conversation.
And think about it. Do you want to go to a nearly guaranteed to be fired and not be successful head coaching job in Jacksonville, or stay in a good situation, stay under the radar, make a boatload of money, and position yourself to be next year's Ben Johnson? First guy off the board is maybe how Liam Coen is thinking about this. Chess, not checkers for Mr. Coen.
Well, and of course, our audience cares about how it impacts the 49ers. Now, ultimately, it sounded like it was down to Liam Coen or Robert Salah as the front runners for that job in Jacksonville. But isn't it interesting how Liam Coen is happy to stay as the offensive coordinator of the Buccaneers, but Robert Salah doesn't want to take a big fat check to be the most, the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league with the 49ers. It sounds like they were about to make him the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league. So makes you wonder. And then, of course, all the people that are going to come back big, well, they took too long. And, well, it's not about speed. It's about relationships. It's about, there was a talk that Ben Johnson was going to bring Dennis Allen with him wherever he went. So it's these ideas that, well, it's just a matter of the timing. It's not just a matter of the timing. I mean, there are situations where it could be the timing, but I think this is really, I don't think it's just down to Staley or Salah. I really don't. I know that's kind of been the take, is that, well, with all these other guys going away, the Niners, it's Brandon Staley if they don't get Robert Salah. Well, I get the sense, and maybe I'm wrong, but I got the sense of it that they just want to be all in on Salah, and that if Salah tells them no, that it won't necessarily go to Staley, that then they'll open it up and start interviewing other guys. But a lot of these other guys, I mean, I guess you could go with a Matt Eberflus. He's out there. There's probably guys in the college game. There's younger guys. But as far as proven defensive coordinators, they're not a lot.
Well, and I don't think we can accuse the 49ers of not being quick here, because really we still got the music playing in the game of musical chairs here. It's not like it's over yet, but everyone is starting to look at the chair, and you start seeing how the 49ers, unless they get aggressive in like the next 48, 72 hours, they could be left as the kid standing when the music stops. Because, as you said, Dennis Allen, who was a favorite candidate possibly for the 49ers, is heavily rumored to be joining Ben Johnson in Chicago. We'll probably find out about that quickly. Jeff Ulbrich has signed on with the Atlanta Falcons, so he's off the board. Lou
Anarumo went to the Colts, so he's out.
Is he done with the Colts? Is that official now?
No, yeah, he's back. He went to the Colts.
Okay, so
Lou Anarumo went to the Colts.
That's done. I didn't have it as official. I thought there was a lot of people making that connection. So Deshae Townsend is a guy who they interviewed from Detroit. Now, maybe If you're Dan Campbell, you're thinking about promoting from within. A lot of people think that Aaron Glenn is about to take that New York Jets job. He's a front runner there. So maybe Detroit promotes from within, which is something that I think Dan Campbell would consider doing. So maybe his name would come off the board. And so, Brandon Staley, who I got to say, it seems no other team has been linked to Brandon Staley. Have you even heard, Larry, of him taking a single interview with another franchise? Brandon Staley seems to have no juice behind his name anywhere.
I'll say this. I guess I don't fully get, Damon, why there's so much vitriol in Ninerland for this young coach. I mean, think about it. Think about a 3-year span. 3-year span. We take out 1 year all the time. Heck, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are telling us to disregard this year, right? Where they won 6 games. So it happens. But you go on a 3-year run here with Brandon Staley. 2020, he's the number 1 defensive coordinator in football. They had Aaron Donald and they had some good players, but number 1 in points, number 1 in yards. So he's got the number 1 defense in 2020. Then he jumps to the Chargers, and I don't know what the Chargers did before he got there, but they went 9-8 and 10-7 in his first 2 years, and made the playoffs in that second year and lost to Jacksonville in the wild card game in the AFC. They come back that 2023 year, they go 5-9. He gets fired, and that pretty much leads you to the present day. So I don't know. Number 1 in defense in his only year as a coordinator is good. And I'll take 19 wins in the first 2 years of the Charger franchise. I don't know what the Chargers did in 2020. I guess I could look that up. But 9-8 and 10-7.
Well, look,
those aren't terrible records, right?
Leave it to me to try to explain away fan vitriol. But what I think is at the forefront of any frustration with this would be, we all agreed at that postseason press conference where Kyle and John Lynch basically said, we're moving off of Sorensen as defensive coordinator. We need some new eyes on this. We need some new ideas. We need sort of a reset here. If this next season begins with the reset essentially being Brandon Staley is now the defensive coordinator and Nick Sorensen is the special teams coordinator, it's hardly going to sound like a reset. And that's going to upset fans. But the truth is, and look, Larry, you're down there almost every day. And not even you can tell us what Brandon Staley did for this year. No one really knows what Brandon Staley did other than the Diamador Lenore, very flattering commentary about how helpful he's been and how he leads these meetings and how he's really helpful in secondary meetings. There's not a lot of knowledge of what he actually did. So no one really knows what credit or demerits to assign to him. And it's just this unknown nebulous of a name that's been easy to make fun of around NFL circles. So that's what I think has got people a little frustrated. Plus, Robert Salah is the guy who looks the part. Like if you called Hollywood Central Casting and said, send me a defensive coordinator, like the guy who walked in the room who looked like Robert Salah would probably get the part. The guy looks like Mr. Clean who's doing bench presses. He just...
And yet Niner fans wanted Robert Salah out before the Niners drafted Nick Bosa. People forget Niner fans did not like Robert Salah at the beginning. Right. They did not. They were not all in on Robert Salah. They weren't all in on Robert Salah till the Niners got Nick Bosa and started to really turn the corner defensively. Then it was Robert Salah. So I don't know. This is the defense, especially in the NFL. It's a players' league. You're a fan of the Bears. You showed me that 85 Bears picture the other day. That was talent and scheme coming together at the right time. But that was unique. The 46 defense was a unique. Nobody had seen it before. Nobody knew how to block it. Nobody knew how to deal with it. And then you had the Fridge and Hampton and McMichael and Wilbur Marshall and Mike Singletary and Otis Wilson, all these guys on a front seven that were it was too much talent and too much scheme all at once.
The secret words were Dave Duerson.
Dave Duerson. Oh. Dave Duerson. Gary Fensick. And we're talking about a lot of great players there. There was a lot of great talent, but it was also a scheme that was like, what do we do? How do we block it? There's too many guys coming. We can't handle it. Too much pressure. Well, there isn't that right now. We're not at that point in history. We haven't seen these unbelievable defensive wrinkles in the last couple of years that separate, this team from that team. It's about the dudes. It's about the guys.
Yeah.
Niners had the guys a couple of years ago. They were really good. This year they didn't have the guys. It was Devondre Campbell and, other guys. I mean, so they weren't as good. And they won't be as good unless they get new guys, whether they hire Staley or Salah or Deshae Townsend or somebody that we're not thinking of. They're not going to be good because of this coordinator hire. They're going to be good because they draft better defenders in April. So I'm not going to lose my mind over this. But I don't. The people that are over the top negative about Brandon Staley, you have to be bringing something more to the table than the Raiders beat him and scored 60.
Thanks for watching. Tune into the Damon Bruce Show live on YouTube every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.